The music was playing softly in the elegant Chicago ballroom when Derek, my sister Sophia's fiancé, grinned wickedly and yanked the chair from under me. I hit the floor with a thud that echoed through the room, my glass of wine spilling across the polished hardwood and soaking my shirt. Gasps rippled through the crowd of well-dressed guests as faces turned my way, some amused, others shocked into silence. My elbow throbbed where it had slammed against the floor, and heat flooded my face. For a moment, all I could hear was my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. Derek stood over me, laughing like it was the funniest thing he had ever done. "Come on, Ryan, it was just a little prank. Lighten up, man. You gays are always so sensitive these days." The word landed like a punch. I pushed myself up, ignoring the sharp pain shooting through my arm, and stared at him. Sophia stood frozen a few feet away in her sparkling engagement dress, her hand covering her mouth. My parents, Richard and Elaine Thompson, sat at the head table looking mortified but silent. No one moved to help me at first. The entire engagement party, meant to celebrate Sophia and Derek's upcoming wedding, had ground to a halt because of this one cruel act. Then Tyler was there. He had come as my plus one but introduced only as a close friend to avoid any tension. His hand gripped my arm firmly as he helped me to my feet, his touch steady and warm. "You okay?" he asked quietly, but the concern in his eyes said more. In the chaos of the moment, the words slipped out louder than he intended. "Babe, talk to me." That single word hung in the air heavier than my fall. A few guests exchanged glances. Derek's laugh died in his throat. Sophia's eyes darted between us, realization dawning. My mother's face paled. The unexpected consequence of Derek's joke was not just my humiliation on the floor. It was the sudden, public cracking open of the secret Tyler and I had guarded for 2 years. Our relationship was no longer hidden in the shadows of family gatherings and careful wording. It was exposed, raw and undeniable, in front of everyone who mattered most to me. I pulled my arm away gently, not wanting to make it worse, but the damage was done. "I'm fine," I muttered, though my voice shook. Derek crossed his arms, his smirk returning. "Whoa, didn't know we had a couple here. Ryan, you could have said something. Might have saved the chair." A few people chuckled nervously. Sophia stepped forward, her voice tight. "Derek, not now. This is our party." But the way she avoided my eyes told me everything. She was embarrassed too, not just for me but because of me. My father cleared his throat loudly, signaling the band to start playing again, as if music could drown out the tension. Tyler stayed close, his presence a quiet anchor. We had met 2 years earlier at a marketing conference downtown. I was pitching campaigns for a tech firm, and he was there as a high school teacher chaperoning students interested in communications. His easy laugh and thoughtful questions drew me in immediately. We kept things private at first because my family had never fully embraced my sexuality. When I came out at 22, my parents had nodded, said they loved me, but the invitations to family events always came with subtle hints. "Bring a nice girl sometime," or "We just want you to be happy and settled." Bringing Tyler openly felt like testing a fragile piece I wasn't ready to break. Now that peace lay shattered on the ballroom floor with the spilled wine, I brushed off my suit, feeling the stares like needles. An older aunt whispered to her husband. A cousin from the suburbs pulled out his phone, probably texting the family group chat. Derek clapped me on the shoulder too hard. "No hard feelings, right, buddy? Just guy stuff." I shrugged him off. Guy stuff doesn't usually involve humiliating someone in front of 100 people. My voice carried more edge than I planned. Tyler's hand brushed mine briefly in support, a small gesture that felt enormous in that moment. Sophia pulled Derek aside, whispering urgently. My mother approached, her perfume strong and familiar. "Ryan, honey, let's not make a scene. It's Sophia's night." Her eyes flicked to Tyler, then away. The message was clear. Contain this. Protect the image. I felt the familiar weight of expectation settle on my chest. The same pressure that had kept me editing my life story for years. Tyler suggested we leave. I nodded, grateful. As we walked out, the murmurs followed us like shadows. In the elevator down to the lobby, The silence between us was thick. My elbow still ached, but the real pain was deeper. Derek's casual cruelty had forced into the open what I had spent years carefully folding away. Now the family would talk. Questions would come. Choices would have to be made. Outside on Michigan Avenue, the cool night air hit us. Chicago's lights glittered along the river, but the beauty felt distant. Tyler turned to me, his face serious under the streetlights. That was messed up. You don't have to downplay it, Ryan. He targeted you. I rubbed my temple. He probably thought it was funny. Some guys like him see it as harmless ribbing. Even as I said it, I knew it was a lie to myself. The homophobia had been there in Derek's tone, in the way he emphasized you gays. It was a reminder that no matter how successful I was in my marketing career, how stable my life in the city, some people would always reduce me to that one label. Tyler didn't push, but I could see the frustration in his jaw. We had built something real, quiet dinners in my apartment, weekend hikes along the lakefront, shared laughs over bad movies. He was out and proud with his own family and friends. Hiding with mine had been a compromise I asked for, and now it was costing us both. Back at my apartment in Lincoln Park, I changed out of the wine-stained shirt while Tyler made tea. The fall had been physical, but the real impact was emotional. I sat on the couch, staring at the city lights through the window, wondering how one yanked chair could unravel years of careful navigation. The family I loved, the sister I had protected growing up, now stood on the other side of a line drawn by Derek's hand. And Tyler, the man I loved, waited patiently for me to decide which side I would choose. The night stretched long with unspoken fears. Tomorrow the calls would start, the questions, the pressure to smooth things over for Sophia's sake. I didn't know then how high the price would climb or how many hearts would break before the dust settled. The next morning, my phone buzzed relentlessly on the nightstand. Tyler had stayed over, his arm draped across my waist in sleep, but the vibration woke us both. I reached for it, seeing my mother's name first, then my father's, then Sophia's. The group chat was exploding with messages from relatives who had witnessed the scene or heard about it secondhand. Tyler sat up, rubbing his eyes. You don't have to answer right away. His voice was calm, but I knew him well enough to hear the undercurrent of worry. We had talked late into the night about what the exposure meant. He wanted openness. I wanted peace. Neither seemed possible now. I opened my mother's text first. Ryan, call me. We need to discuss last night. For Sophia's sake, please don't escalate. The words stung. No concern for my fall or the humiliation, just damage control. My father's message was shorter. Family meeting at the house Sunday. Be there. Sophia's was the hardest. Derek feels bad. It was a joke that went wrong. Can we move past this? I set the phone down and leaned back against the headboard. Tyler watched me, his dark hair messy from sleep, his expression patient but searching. What are you thinking? He asked. I'm thinking my family just watched me get publicly embarrassed and their first instinct is to protect the guy who did it. The words tasted bitter. Growing up in the suburbs outside Chicago, I had always been the responsible older brother. Sophia was the artistic one, the dreamer. I went to Northwestern, built a career, paid my own way. When I came out, I did it quietly over dinner, expecting support. They gave me words. We love you no matter what. But the actions never fully matched. Holidays with plus ones were encouraged only if the plus one was female. Conversations about my dating life were redirected. Tyler listened as I vented, then shared his own perspective. His family in Michigan had embraced him fully when he came out in college. They met me last year at a quiet dinner and welcomed me without hesitation. You deserve that too, Ryan. Not this constant walking on eggshells. We spent the morning in the apartment, making breakfast together in the small kitchen. Simple acts. Flipping pancakes, stealing kisses. Felt like rebellion against the chaos outside, but the phone kept buzzing. I finally answered my mother's call around noon. Ryan, thank God. How are you feeling after that fall? Her voice carried the practiced concern of a mother who wanted to fix things without addressing the root. My elbow is bruised, but I'll live. The bigger issue is Derek's behavior, Mom. She sighed. He apologized to your father this morning. It was in poor taste, but you know how men are. They roughhouse. And with the wedding only 3 months away, we can't have bad blood. I gripped the counter. He called me out specifically. You gays. That wasn't roughhousing. That was targeted. Pause. People say things. Derek comes from a different background. His family is more traditional. But he loves Sophia. We all want this wedding to be perfect. The subtext was clear. My discomfort was secondary to the family's image. Tyler stood nearby, arms crossed, listening. I could see the disappointment in his eyes, not at me, but at the situation I kept defending. After the call, I told Tyler everything. He nodded slowly. So they're asking you to swallow it. Again. His tone wasn't accusatory, but the weight was there. We had argued before about my family's slow acceptance. He understood the cultural pull. I was their son, the one who checked on them, who remembered birthdays, who drove my dad to doctor's appointments when his back acted up. Cutting ties wasn't simple. That afternoon we walked along the lakefront. The Chicago wind whipped off the water, carrying the scent of autumn. Tyler took my hand openly, a small act that felt defiant after last night. I love you, Ryan, but I won't keep being your secret forever. Last night showed me how exhausting it is for you too. His words hit hard. I thought about the cost he paid, the family events he missed, the photos where he was cropped out or labeled friend. The way he never complained, but I knew it hurt. Loving me meant accepting a version of our relationship that was half-hidden. The fall at the party had forced us both to confront whether that half-life was sustainable. Sunday's family meeting loomed. My parents' house in the suburbs, the same one where I grew up playing in the backyard, now felt like a battlefield. I rehearsed what I would say, but doubt crept in. Was I overreacting? Derek was marrying my sister. Rocking the boat could fracture everything. Yet staying silent felt like betraying myself and Tyler. That night, as we lay in bed, Tyler traced patterns on my arm. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. But decide for us, not just for them. His quiet support was the steady ground I needed. The internal conflict raged, loyalty to blood versus loyalty to the man who saw me fully. The price of choosing one seemed to grow heavier by the hour. Sunday arrived with gray Chicago skies that matched my mood. I drove to my parents' house alone, asking Tyler to wait at the apartment. He understood. This was a conversation that needed to happen without his presence turning it into an immediate confrontation. The familiar suburban streets felt foreign now, each house a reminder of the life I had carefully constructed to fit expectations. My parents greeted me at the door with tight smiles. Sophia and Derek were already there, sitting on the living room couch like a united front. The air smelled of coffee and my mother's apple pie, a domestic normalcy that clashed with the tension. "Glad you came, son," my father said, clapping my shoulder. His grip was firm, but his eyes avoided mine for too long. We sat around the dining table, the same one where we had celebrated graduations and holidays. Sophia spoke first, her voice soft but determined. "Ryan, Derek wants to apologize properly." Derek leaned forward, his expression contrite in a practiced way. "I was out of line, man. The chair thing was stupid. I didn't mean anything by it. Just trying to loosen things up." I stared at him. "You singled me out. You used my sexuality as the punchline." He shrugged. "I didn't know you and Tyler were, you know. If I'd known, I wouldn't have." The implication hung there. My relationship was the problem, not his behavior. My mother jumped in. "Let's not assign blame. The important thing is moving forward. Sophia's wedding is the priority. We want everyone there happy." The conversation circled for an hour. They asked me to understand Derek's perspective, to not make it about me, to think of your sister. Sophia avoided direct eye contact when I pressed her. "I love you, Ryan, but Derek is my future husband. I need you to get along with him." The betrayal cut deep. My little sister, the one I had defended from bullies in school, the one I helped with college applications, was choosing her fiancé over acknowledging the hurt. Internal voices warred inside me. One side whispered that family was forever, that weddings were about compromise. The other screamed that love shouldn't require me to shrink myself. I left the meeting exhausted, promising nothing concrete. Back at the apartment, Tyler listened as I recounted every word. His face hardened at the parts about Sophia. She's asking you to perform for her wedding, to pretend we're not serious so Derek feels comfortable. We spent the evening talking through options. Attending the wedding alone would keep the peace but send the message that our relationship was secondary. Bringing Tyler openly could cause drama. Not attending at all would be a declaration of war. Each choice carried a cost. Strained family ties, guilt, resentment. Work the next week offered little escape. In my marketing office downtown, colleagues whispered about the party. Someone had posted a blurry video of the fall online, though it didn't go viral. My boss, usually supportive, pulled me aside. Everything okay at home? Family stuff can affect focus. The subtle reminder that personal life bled into professional life added another layer of pressure. Tyler faced his own challenges at school. A parent-teacher meeting brought questions about his personal life after a colleague mentioned seeing us together. He handled it with grace, but I saw the toll. Our relationship, once a source of joy, now carried the weight of external judgment. One evening, we sat on the couch watching the city lights. Tyler turned to me. "I don't want to be the reason you lose your family, Ryan. But I also can't keep watching you twist yourself into knots to please them." His honesty forced me to confront the moral dilemma. Was staying silent a form of self-betrayal? Or was demanding acceptance selfish when it hurt others? The internal conflict intensified. Flashbacks to my coming out flooded my mind. The awkward dinner, my father's long silence, my mother's forced positivity. I had told myself it was enough. Now I questioned everything. Tyler's steady love contrasted sharply with the conditional acceptance from my family. The price of authenticity was becoming clear, potential isolation from the people who raised me. As weeks passed, small betrayals accumulated. Sophia sent wedding invitations without a +1 for me. To keep things simple, my parents suggested I bring a female friend for appearances. Each request chipped away at my resolve. Tyler never demanded I choose, but his quiet patience made the decision feel even heavier. The family dinner 2 weeks before the wedding became the breaking point. My parents insisted on hosting everyone to clear the air. Tyler came with me this time. We walked into the house holding hands, a deliberate statement. The room fell quiet when we entered. Derek's jaw tightened. Sophia forced a smile. My father poured drinks a little too quickly. Conversation stayed surface level at first: work, weather, wedding details. Then Derek brought up the party. Water under the bridge, right? We're all adults. Tyler spoke calmly. It wasn't just a prank to Ryan. It was disrespectful. And the comments afterward made it worse. Derek leaned back. "Look, I'm not against whatever you guys have, but there's a time and place. At my engagement party, maybe tone it down." The room tensed. My mother tried to redirect, but I couldn't stay silent. "This is exactly the problem. You expect me to hide who I am so you feel comfortable. That's not fair." Sophia sighed. "Ryan, you're making this about you again. It's my wedding." Her words landed like another yanked chair. The sister I loved was choosing comfort over solidarity. My father cleared his throat. "Son, sometimes we make sacrifices for family. Your mother and I have accepted your lifestyle. Can't you meet us halfway?" The phrase "your lifestyle" echoed in my mind. It reduced my love for Tyler to a choice rather than who I was. Tyler squeezed my hand under the table. His presence gave me strength, but the cost was visible in his tightened shoulders. He was sacrificing his pride too, sitting through this for me. The dinner ended in strained goodbyes. Outside, Tyler and I sat in the car for a long time without speaking. "I can't ask you to go through the wedding like this," I said finally. "It's tearing us both apart." He looked at me, eyes steady. "I love you enough to stand beside you, even if it means facing this. But you have to decide what you want long-term. I won't be hidden forever." That night we talked deeper than ever. Tyler shared his fears, losing me to family pressure, watching me grow resentful. I confessed my guilt over potentially hurting my parents in their later years. The moral question swirled. Was demanding respect selfish? Was compromising love a greater betrayal? Work suffered. A big campaign pitch felt hollow when my mind was elsewhere. Colleagues noticed my distraction. At home, small arguments flared over nothing, the stress leaking into our relationship. One evening Tyler stayed late at school for a meeting, and the empty apartment amplified my doubts. Was I asking too much of him? Was the price of our love becoming too high for both of us? The final month before the wedding brought decisions that tested everything. Sophia called one afternoon, her voice pleading. "Please come to the wedding, Ryan." Without drama, Derek promised to behave. "Mom and Dad are really upset about the possibility of you not being there." I asked about Tyler. She hesitated. "It would be better if he didn't come. For everyone's sake." The request crystallized the choice. Attending alone meant erasing Tyler for one day to preserve family harmony. Bringing him meant risking a scene. Skipping entirely meant drawing a permanent line. Tyler and I discussed it over dinner at our favorite Italian place near the lake. Candlelight flickered between us as we weighed the options. "I won't ask you to go alone," he said. "But if you do, I understand. Family is complicated." His grace made the decision harder. I thought about the years of quiet support he had given, the holidays spent apart, the careful language around my relatives. The awakening came slowly. I had been asking him to pay a price I wasn't willing to pay myself. That weekend we visited Tyler's family in Michigan. Their warm acceptance, the easy way they included me, highlighted the contrast. His mother hugged me tightly. "We're so glad you're part of our family." The words stung because they reminded me what I was missing. Back in Chicago, the internal battle raged. I journaled late at night, exploring the conflicts, loyalty versus authenticity, societal expectations versus personal truth. Prejudices weren't just Derek's. They lived in the subtle comments from my parents, the averted eyes from relatives. The story wasn't black and white. My family wasn't evil, they were products of their time and upbringing. Yet understanding didn't erase the harm. A major confrontation happened when my father called. "If you bring Tyler, it might upset your mother's health. She's been stressed." The emotional manipulation was clear. I hung up angry, then guilty. The cycle of love and resentment exhausted me. Tyler noticed my withdrawal. One night he confronted it gently. "If this is too much, we can take a break. I don't want to be the reason you regret your choices." His offer came from love, but it terrified me. The thought of losing him cracked something open. I realized the real betrayal would be choosing comfort over the man who made me feel seen. We recommitted that night, holding each other through the uncertainty. The price was becoming clear. Family relationships might never be the same. But authenticity with Tyler offered a different kind of wholeness. The wedding day dawned bright over Chicago. I stood in front of the mirror in my apartment, adjusting my tie. Tyler waited in the living room, dressed in a sharp suit, ready if I asked. After weeks of turmoil, I had made my choice. We arrived at the venue together. Heads turned as we entered. Sophia spotted us from across the room, her expression a mix of surprise and resignation. Derek's face darkened briefly before he forced a smile. My parents approached, tense but civil. The ceremony proceeded without incident. During the reception, I pulled Sophia aside. "I love you, sis, but I couldn't hide anymore. Not today." She nodded, tears in her eyes. "I get it. I wish it was easier." Derek kept his distance, but the tension lingered. My mother hugged me tightly at one point. "We're trying, Ryan. It will take time." The acknowledgement was small but meaningful. Not full acceptance, but a crack in the wall. Later that evening, Tyler and I danced slowly under the string lights. The fall at the engagement party had set everything in motion, forcing confrontations, sacrifices, and growth. Relationships with my family were strained but not severed. Tyler and I were stronger, having faced the fire together. The journey revealed hard truths. Love demands courage. Family bonds can both nurture and constrain, and standing in your truth often carries a cost. Some bridges bend but don't break. Others require distance to heal. In the end, was Ryan right to choose openness and love over maintaining fragile family peace? Or should he have compromised more to preserve those lifelong ties?